First thing first, make sure you cleanse the client's skin. Make sure you cleanse all areas that's being waxed. Second step, make sure you apply the powder. I do just take the whole bottle and just sprinkle it all over the client. Take a clean cotton roll and just spread it throughout. Once you're done completing spreading the powder all throughout the client's skin, this is when you go in with your wax. When doing the legs, you start on the outer layer and you mirror yourself throughout the whole service. Here's an example of me mirroring myself. Moving along to the other side. While moving along, I did make a mistake, but I want you guys to see that it's okay and you can recover from all mistakes doing waxing. In this case, I did get a fresh stick, fresh wax, never double dip, and just go over the top. You can always fix when there's a mistake. So you want to make sure you go over just to complete your tab, complete your spread, make sure there's no thin lines. And here I did do a couple thin lines just so you can see what would happen. Here, I'm pulling it up and the wax spread did break. Again, pinching, pulling, pressure. Here it was complete because I did go back and I did go over it just to make sure I didn't have any mistakes. This is me moving along in the inner of the lower leg. Nice spread. Filling in all of my thin layers. Tapping, making sure it's ready to pull. Pinch in the middle. And I did do pressure. I'm going to do the same thing here. Pulling my wax down. Completing my tab. Filling in my spread with the any leftover wax I have on a stick. Double tapping, making sure that wax is dry, and then I'm removing. Nice clean. Moving along, I'm only left with the middle. This is the last of the main hair before I go in with touch-up strips. And I am going to mirror myself once again on the other side. Bringing that wax down, making sure it's evenly spreaded, creating my tab. Tossing that stick always, double checking, making sure it's ready to dry and remove. Make sure you always put pressure. Pressure is the key after removing that hair strip. Here's my touch-up strip. Opposite way, the same thing that we did on the stomach, on the back, on the underarms. You always go with the touch-up strip. Again, making sure it's dry, pinching and pulling. Here, you can see it a little bit better. Me doing my touch-up strip, pulling that wax all the way to the top, making sure it's evenly spreaded, creating a tab, going over with leftover wax on my stick, making sure it's dry, pinch in the middle, pull. I do love pinching in the middle because it's least likely for my wax to break. Here again, a touch-up strip. Pulling that wax all the way to the top, creating a tab. Checking to make sure it's dry. pinch in the middle. Well, here there was a mistake. I pitched on the side, and you can see how it did break. That's why it's so important to pull up your tab from the middle. Here again, just doing a touch-up strip. Making sure that wax is evenly spreaded. Double checking, making sure it's dry. Pinch in the middle, pull. Make sure you apply that pressure. Moving along to the last area for my touch-up strip is the middle. Doing the same exact thing you did in the beginning of the touch-up strips. Pulling that wax to the top, creating a tab, making sure it's evenly spreaded, making sure it's dry, ready to be pulled. Pinch in the middle, down and pressure. I'm going to do the same thing here. At this point, I have completed the front of the lower leg wax. I'm analyzing, making sure I have no hair left. Looks good. So now I'm moving forward to completing the knees. When waxing the knees, you want to follow the same method you did for the lower leg. You start from the outer, move to the inner, then you do the middle. The same exact thing. Nothing changed. Just a tip, if you go ahead and lay out your strips, that will help you speed up the process. Here, that is what I did. I laid 4 strips at a time, let it dry, then remove all 4. Then I move forward with the middle. Continue watching. Again, don't focus so much on trying to make a perfect strip, because sometimes you will notice it don't look as neat and perfect, but long as that wax is evenly spreaded, it will get the job done. I have completed removing all 4 strips, and now I'm left with just the middle. Same method, mirror yourself. You put 1 strip on one knee and you move along to the next one, allowing the first one that you put down to dry. Remember, laying both strips will allow you to speed up the process. At this point, all hair is removed, but I do like to do a touch-up strip. But the touch-up strip, I like to go from side to side. This method does allow me to get any straggler hairs that's on the knee. What you do to one knee, you do to the other. Make sure you mirror yourself always. Pull from the tab you created. Pressure always. Take the sticky side of your wax. Press down and get any remaining hair. I did the same thing here. Moving along, my client did flip over, and I do the same exact thing for the back of the leg. Clean, powder, and start waxing. Same exact thing. So I go in with the wax, pull it down, evenly spread that, create my tab. Making sure it's dry. Pressure. I find myself sometimes just moving along and just completing one leg, then move to the other leg. But it is good to just mirror yourself because it keeps you on track and you know where you left off at. I've been doing it for so long that it just happened. But for beginners, for someone that's really trying to take it serious now, I do recommend you guys mirror. That's me getting back into mirroring. Pressure, pinch board pressure. Now I'm only left with the middle part of the legs. The back of her legs isn't as hairy, but she did have peach fuzz going on. Move into the back of the leg, make sure I get that main hair off. I did, if you notice, I went down a little bit more because when you're doing lower legs, your client might have an extra 1 or 2 hairs. So make sure you analyze to the fullest. Here's me removing the last strip of the main hair. And we are going to get into touch-up strips now. Same thing like we did in the front. Start from the bottom. Pull that wax up to the top. Make sure it's evenly spread. I did go along and I did the same thing like I did the knee. Just spread them kind of for speed purposes. One by one, doing the leg could take you a long time. So I just moved along and just did all my spreads at once. The outer and the inner. You wouldn't do the middle because it would attach together. Doing my last strip for the touch-ups. Pulling that wax all the way, completing my tab. Making sure it's evenly spreaded. Pinch, pull, pressure. Here again. Pinch, pull, pressure. Now I'm analyzing, making sure I have every hair. I did see a couple stragglers, so I just laid an extra little strip. I did not do the top of the thigh because this client did only have a lower leg. So to complete it, I do always do the middle of the leg. Just to kind of complete it, give it an even look. By me not doing the top of the leg, I did want to touch bases that the same thing I did for the lower leg, you would do the same exact thing for the top. Make sure you always take the sticky part of the wax and get any residue that's left. Analyze before you tell your client to flip back over. The leg is complete. I'm still analyzing, feeling to see if I feel any hair. Because sometimes it will look smooth, but it's not. So I am a little extra. I do love putting hot towels on my client's leg. This is optional. You do not have to do it, but I will recommend because your clients will love you. Adding a hot towel also helped me remove residue. So this is another reason why I highly recommend you add a hot towel. Once done letting the towel sit, I do go in with an oil just to complete the service, have the client's legs looking nice and shiny, smooth. I do massage it just a little bit, just to give it a nice little touch. Massage is optional, but oil I highly recommend. This client is all done. Legs look perfect and smooth.